Hi, this is James Cook of the University of Maine at Augusta, and today we are going to walk through an exercise in obtaining information from the United States Census and using that to create a population pyramid graph on Google Sheets. So all this information is available for free through the internet, and Google Sheets is a spreadsheet program that is available to anyone who has a Google account. So headed to your search engine, your favorite search engine, simply type in American Fact Finder, where Fact Finder is one word, and you'll see some results. Right at the top will be a website called factfinder.census.gov. Let's click on that. Now, I want you to obtain the most recent data available for the United States, for any city or town in the United States. So I'm going to have you click on Advanced Search with me and Show Me All. Click on the button Show Me All. Now we're taken to a very straightforward search engine, except this time we're not searching for a website, we're searching for data. And to obtain sex and age information for a place, we need those three pieces of information. We're going to enter into the topic or table name field, sex by age. And you're going to see some options that allow you to pick sex by age for particular racial, ethnic categorizations. I'd rather you didn't do that. I'd like you to measure everyone. So let's click just plain sex by age. And then I'd like you to enter the name of a place, the name of a community, preferably in Maine, preferably where you live, that you're interested in getting a population pyramid for. So to do this, you'll simply type in the name of that place. So I'm going to just pick one as an example, Trumansburg Village, New York. Now you notice once I start putting this information in, an option pops up. Yours should be among the options. Make sure you pick the right one. There are a lot of places called Smithfield, for instance. Make sure you pick the right state, the right place. Once you have this information, hit go, and you'll be presented with a set of possibilities. You could go back in time, but I'd like you to get the most recent data set available. So do you see this at the top? 2013 ACS 5-year estimates. What that stands for is American Community Survey, and estimates from 2013 and the previous 4 years all piled together, so they have enough information to get a good estimate, even for a relatively small town. So to select this, I'm going to click on the 2013 ACS 5-year estimate option, and then I will obtain a result. It tells me at the top, in case I want to be certain, that we are looking at sex by age, the total population, 2009 to 2013, 5-year estimates from the American Community Survey, which is carried out by the U.S. Census. And then down here we have a table. Now, if you are using a modern browser and you select that table, you select all the data in it, all the way down to the end, something magical will happen. When you select it all and then hit Control-C, assuming you have a Windows computer, when you hit Control-C, all that information is saved as a table in something called a clipboard. Now you need to bring it into your Google document, a Google Sheet. To do that, I'd like you to go to my.uma.edu. If you are a University of Maine at Augusta student, through this account, you have access to all the Google programs you need to do the following. So log in, putting in your username and password. And then I would like you to click Google Drive, the three-pronged triangle you see here. Now you're in Google Drive, which is a general place where you can place files, but I would like you to start a spreadsheet, which in the Google system is called Google Sheets. So hit the New button and then select Google Sheets. Congratulations, you have an untitled spreadsheet. I'd like you to title it. I'd like you to use a title that's descriptive so you can remember what it's about. Let's call this a population pyramid, Trumansburg, New York, 2009 to 2013, and then put your name after that if you really want to be most detailed. That way you'll never forget what it is, and if you share it with me, I'll never forget what it is or who did the work. So there it is, right? And I can always change the title by clicking in the upper left and retyping what I want the title to be. So now that I have this program up, I've hit Control-C in my other window to take this census information, and I want to paste it in here. So I'm going to make sure that the upper left-hand cell in the spreadsheet is selected, and then I'm going to simply hit Control-V. I could also go under Edit and hit Paste, but I'm going to hit Control-V because it's what I'm used to doing. Use either method, and we have almost perfection here. By the way, if you can't get information to cut and paste, what else can you do? You can look at the information. You could print this page out on a sheet of paper, and then you could type it in Google Sheets. You don't have to cut and paste if you don't want to. Something interesting happened. We have a set of errors under margin of error. That didn't paste well, but that's okay because we aren't interested in the margin of error for this assignment. As a matter of fact, we're going to select that column, and I'm going to do that by clicking on the header C for column C, and then under Edit in the menu, I'm going to select Delete column C. Okay, good. Now, the next thing we want to do is we want to be able to compare males and females directly against each other, which means that within particular age categories, they should be in the same rows. They're not currently in the same rows. The males are on top and then the females are below. We don't want that to happen. So what do? Pretty simple. We again cut and paste, but this time within Google Sheets itself. So I'm going to scroll down until I have all of the necessary rows that I want to copy over. Okay, and this time I'm going to select all the cells in both column A and both column B, and I do that by clicking at the top for females, the top left corner, and then holding down my mouse button, I'm going to drag down until all of those cells are selected. Now this time I want to move it, not just copy it. So to do that and not have the original spacing remain, I'm going to hit Control-X. I'm going to cut it out, and then I'm going to select the place I want to stick it. Now I want to stick it, the females right next to the males, so I'm going to select cell C4, and then I'm going to hit Paste. Control-V. And that moves the males and the females right next to one another. Super. I only have a few complications. There's some more areas that I'm not interested in working with. I already know this is Trumansburg Village in New York, and I know this is an estimate. I don't need these two rows, so I'm going to select the first row and then I'm going to drag down till I've selected the top 2 rows. And under Edit, I'm going to hit Delete rows 1 and 2. Now, the next thing I notice is that I have a row that says Total. I'm not really interested in that for a population pyramid, so I'm going to select that row, and I'm going to delete that row. Finally, you'll notice that in cell B1 and cell D1, I have complete totals for males and females. I don't really need that for this assignment. So I'm going to delete those. And so I can remember which of the 2 sexes is being referred to by which column of information. I'm going to make sure that I type in male and female at the top of columns B and D. In fact, I can delete the labels then for A and C. There's one more piece of information I could delete. You'll notice now at this point I have redundant information, 2 sets of labels in columns A and column C. And I really want the males and females to be next to each other so the spreadsheet program knows how to interpret them next to one another. So I really am going to need to delete column C. So I'm going to click on the header C, that cell there. Doing so selects the entire column, and under Edit, I'm going to delete column C. Now, I finally have information for males and females, counts of people in the town of Trumansburg, New York, from 2009 to 2013 from the American Community Survey. It's all there. I'm just about ready to start making my population pyramid. How can I do that? Well, I'm going to select all that information. And again, I can do that either by starting the lower right or the upper left, click on a cell, hold down a mouse button, and drag down until every cell is selected. And then I'm going to click on an icon toward the right in this toolbar that says Insert Chart. I also could do that here in the menu, Insert Chart. Either way, I'll get to the same place. Now, a population pyramid has horizontal rows, right? So I'm going to want to pick the icon that indicates a horizontal row. Well, those sure are horizontal rows, but if I insert that, I'll find there are 2 problems. The first problem is that it's not looking like a population pyramid, because in a population pyramid there will be males to the left and females to the right, but they're both to the right. How do I get males to the left? The second problem is that you'll look at the labels for age categories, which are very conveniently indicated. And you'll notice that those age categories are from oldest on the bottom to youngest on the top. And typically in a population pyramid, it's reversed. So clearly we have some work to do. So we need to fix this. And how can we fix it? We can do that by clicking on this little tiny triangle in the corner. When I click on that, there's an option that says Advanced Edit. And that takes us back to the pop-up menu that allowed us to make choices in the first place. Let's take a look at the Customize tab. Okay, there are 3 tabs: Start, Charts, and Customize. Select Customize, and then head down toward the bottom, and you'll see there are features. There are 2 features that I'm interested in. One is called Reverse. Oh, and you do that, and it will reverse the axis. Isn't that handy? We've just solved our first problem. But this thing we need to fix before we stack is the problem that the males and the females are both on the right-hand side. How do we fix that? Well, it's a simple fix, and it is really low tech. We're going to want those to appear on the other side. So of the y-axis, which is the 0 point. How do you make it appear on the other side of 0? You make the males a negative number. So we're going to select all the cells that have male numbers, and we're going to put a minus in front of them. Oh, did you see what that did? Okay, so I'm going to select a cell, and then I'm going to select this formula bar up here that is right next to FX, and I'm going to put a minus right in the front, and then hit return. It's moving the bars over to the left. I know it's really a low-tech solution, but it works, and sometimes you just have to go with what works. And that's what I'd like you to do. Here we go. Whoop. I erased that. If you ever do something like erase a cell, you can always hit Control-Z, which is undo, or you can hit this little backwards arrow, which is undo. It's always handy to be able to fix your mistakes. Well, so I'm most of the way through here, and I'm moving all those cells from the right over to the left for the males. Okay, so now that I've done that, I can click on the chart again. I can click on that triangle, go back to Advanced Edit, and again, this is really just in terms of preference for presentation, and if I hit stack, you'll notice those are nice thicker bars. So I've updated, and I have literally a population pyramid here. I have some interpretation problems now that I'm going to need to fix that comes from the nature of the census data. So how can I fix those? You notice that it looks a little funny around the ages of the late teens and early 20s. That's because age 20 and age 21 are single years, as opposed to 45 to 49, which is a period of 5 years, right? You'll also notice there's a similar problem in the 60s with 62 and 64, 65 and 66. Well, we need to combine them if we want to interpret this correctly into 5-year intervals. Well, how do we do that? It's the magic of addition. So we have under 5 years. That's okay. That's about 5 years. 5 to 9, 10 to 14. Then it should be 15 to 19. So I'm going to head over to my label, and I'm going to say, well, this is going to be 15 to 19 years. Now, how do I make it actually be 15 to 19 years? Well, I add the males together. In this case, it's 40 and 39, which is adding up to 79. So you just literally, to change it, you just click on the cell and then start typing. Oh, except I have to make it minus 79, right? And for the females, I have 9 and 9 to add up. 9 plus 9 is 18. And now I can select the number 6, because this is row 6, make sure the entire row is selected, and I can, under Edit, delete that row. Okay, good. Now let's do that for 20 to 24, which is the next 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 5-year period. To do that, I need to add 3 rows together to get 20 to 24 years. So to do that, I need to add, for the males, B6, B7, and B8, those cells all together. So 5 plus 7 is 12, plus 55 is 69. Oh, and I have to make it a negative number, so it's on the left, or excuse me, yes, the left. And now I need to add 0, 9, and 28 together for the females. That is 37. Okay. And then, since I have information from rows 7 and 8 together. I'm going to click and drag to select both rows 7 and 8, and I can delete those now. Under Edit, delete rows 7 and 8. Now I'm going to go back through and I'm going to say, do I have 5-year periods? 25 to 29, yes. 30 to 34, yes. 35 to 49, yes. 40 to 44, 45 to 49, 50 to 54, 55 to 59, 60 and 61. Oh, I got to do it again. That's only 2-year period. And so I'm going to take 62, 64 years is my new title. And I'm going to need to add together 43 and 20. Rows B14 and B15. And I'm going to make that a negative 63. And then for females, 43 and 40, which together is 83. And then I have to delete my 15th row, edit, and delete. I think I just have one more to do, which is 65 and 66 years is 2 years, and 67 to 69 is 3 years. So I'll combine them to 65 to 69 years. 27 plus 13 is 40, and 23 plus 26 is 49. Delete the row below. And look at the chart. I've made an error. I didn't make a 40 for the males who are 65 to 69. I didn't make them negative. There we are. Well, now I have a population pyramid. I see this area up here that says chart title. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to give it a title. I click on that chart title, and then there's a text box that appears. I click there, and I can type in a better title. Population Pyramid, Trumansburg, New York, 2009 to 2013. And then if I really wanted to, I could say, put a few spaces in there, source American Community Survey, because it's always a good idea to cite your sources. Excellent. And now I have a population pyramid. You'll notice under the title on the right that every change that you make during this period is automatically saved. So if you have an internet outage halfway through the experiment, you can go right back. Finally, you need to share this information with me. To do that, I would like you to click the blue button in the upper right-hand corner that says Share. And I would like you to click Get Shareable Link. So under Share with Others, you see in the upper right-hand corner it says Get Shareable Link. Well, click on that. And then it will say Link copied to clipboard. Make sure that anyone at the University of Maine system with the link can view. That's wonderful. Okay, so let's take a look and see what else I asked you to do. So I'm going to take a look at the online course. Okay, and I'm going to head to assignments. And I'm going to see, are all the steps done? Well, I've created a population pyramid for an American city or town, preferably the one in which I live. Good. Oh, but now I need to do something else. I need to compare it to a population pyramid for the United States as a whole. Oh, okay. So now I need to go back and I need to create a second population pyramid for the United States as a whole. The population pyramids need to be appropriately labeled. The images need to be included in a word processing document. So, and then I'm asking you to reflect on those population pyramids. And then I ask you to think about what the consequences of those pyramids might be for the country and local community in which you live. Wow. Okay, that's good. So what I'll ask you to do then is you can head right over either to Google Drive or Microsoft Word. And if you're using Google Drive, To create a document, you hit Google Docs under New, and you can get started. It would be a good idea to share a link, okay? And it would also be a good idea, since I asked you to share the actual picture. How can you do that? Well, let's click on the triangle and select Copy Chart. Okay, here's the triangle. Click the chart, click the triangle, click Copy Chart, head back over to your document, and hit Paste or Control V, and there you are. Now, you of course are going to need to reflect on this. Talk about what? What else? Consequences for the community in which you live and the United States. So when you reflect, how can you reflect? Well, you can describe the shape by sex. Does this shape look different for males or females? Are there more males? Are there more females? You can describe the shape by age. Okay, and in terms of consequences for the community and the United States, I encourage you to take a look at the complete online lecture for this week, where we talk about population structures and how they affect all kinds of aspects of a community. And I encourage you to head back to your reading, where they talk about the effects of population on all sorts of things: healthcare, food policy, agriculture, and so on. You'll of course want to write this in a complete essay format, and you will need to compare it to a population pyramid for the United States as a whole. Where do you get a population pyramid for the United States as a whole? Head back to American Fact Finder. Here's our data for Trumansburg. Let's go to the top, head back to Advanced Search. Let's notice our selections, and there's an option that says Clear All Selections and Start a New Search in the upper left. Let's click that. And let's go right back to our first step, in which we will type in sex by age. We'll select the top option, which is the proper one, that isn't limiting by racial ethnic category. And let's try typing in United States. There we are. We'll select United States. We'll hit go. And we're looking for something comparable. So we had 5-year estimates from the 2013 American Community Survey. Let's do the same. That's for me the third option. Make sure under data set you find the same option. I click on that. I have exactly the same kind of title. I'll either copy and paste this information over, or if I need to, if copy and paste doesn't work for my browser, I'm going to head over and I can type in those numbers. There's not too many of them. Make sure you have a little time set aside. And I will produce another population pyramid. Where would I put it? Gosh, I already have one of these. Well, in the same file, if I wanted that, I could go to the lower left and I could click plus in the lower left to say Add Sheet. And now you notice there's a tab for Sheet 1. Click on that. Trumansburg pops up. I could click on Sheet 2. And now I have a fresh blank spreadsheet. I'll paste in that information again, and I can get started again, processing my information, getting rid of columns I don't need, getting rid of rows I don't need, moving data so they're in the right spots, And you can see yet again, I'm going to have all the information I need. I can do it very quickly if I need to create a new population pyramid. This is what I want you to do. I want you to play with data. I want you to play with spreadsheets so you can think about the organization of data. You can realize that these are variables. You can think about how you need to make sure the categories are the same. And all of a sudden you started to think like a sociologist of population. I look forward to seeing your results, to seeing your thoughts about your own town, or if you live outside the United States, maybe a town you used to live in, and how the difference between the town and the country indicate that those two different social contexts may have different challenges that face them.